speak on the bill, Mr. Rose.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to commend the gentlelady Miller from Illinois for amendment number 35 and appreciate the work of members of this committee who have worked to close the loophole unintentionally created in the 2018 Farm Bill. This amendment contains the clarification needed to decipher accurately the intentional and unintentional products currently developed under the 2018 definition of hemp. Hemp is a product that requires and demands the correct guidelines, and if we do not provide these guidelines, we are threatening the safety of Americans. This amendment draws the much-needed line between the naturally occurring plant and adjacent particles and the enhancing synthetic additives combined with the plant and placed on store shelves. We must ensure these products are regulated properly and handled with the care this committee tried to set and the Congress tried to set in 2018. I understand this is a contentious issue, but we must accept responsibility and address the issue once and for all. Clarifying these definitions will address many of the issues arising related to substance control standards while not threatening the production of legally derived hemp. I am encouraged by this amendment, and I hope my colleagues will join me in supporting this amendment. And with that, I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman yields back. Others that would like to speak on the en bloc.
Mr. Chairman,
Dr. Baird.
I would like to express my opposition to amendment number 35, and here's my reasons. American farmers around the country have invested their time and treasure over the last 6 years to develop a domestic supply chain of hemp and hemp products. Hemp provides a great opportunity for family farms to diversify their farm income while using hemp as a rotational crop. American farmers deserve the certainty afforded with the current definition of hemp. The proposed amendment arbitrarily changes the current congressionally written definition of hemp in such a way that it eliminates the genetic seed stock built by farmers over the last 6 years. This includes the grain and fiber markets that demonstrate great potential for our farmers. The proposed amendment preempts individual states like Indiana, Tennessee, Kentucky, and Georgia that have engaged to properly regulate these products and age restrictions and uniform packaging, labeling, and testing requirements. Genuine consumer safety concerns with hemp products are actively being considered by the House Energy and Commerce and the Senate Health Committees, in addition to actions taken by the states and existing FDA authority to remove unsafe products and those targeting minors from the market. The proposed amendment empowers bad actors who are not concerned with the safety of their products and the age of their consumers by eliminating small businesses' responsibility meeting strong consumer demand for the products. I'm voting no on this amendment in order to provide critical certainty for American farmers to continue to invest in rebuilding a domestic supply chain of hemp and hemp products. Thank you. I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for including my amendment in this en bloc. My amendment will close the loophole created in the 2018 Farm Bill that allows intoxicating hemp products like Delta 8 to be sold. These products are being marketed to children and sending hundreds of them to the hospital. We must stop teenagers and young children from being exposed to addictive and harmful drugs. Mr. Chairman, I would like to highlight this article from the Wall Street Journal. It shows how these products are being marketed to children and how harmful they can be. My amendment would return the definition of hemp to Congress's original intent, which was for industrial purposes and not intoxicating synthetic derivatives of hemp. I want to thank the chairman for including concepts from my bill, the Preserving America's Farmland Act, in the base text of the Farm Bill. This will require the administration to study the impacts of solar panel installations on prime farmland and estimate the loss of agriculture production on farmland due to solar panel installations. I am very concerned about America's farmland being covered with solar panel installations. food security as national security, and if we cover our prime soil with solar panels, we will become dependent on our adversaries to feed American families. It is a great honor to represent my fellow family farmers on this committee. I'm excited to vote for this farm bill. Thank you, and I yield back.
Very good. And encourage members to limit their remarks to legislation that is within the en bloc. Mr. Van Orden.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am speaking today in opposition to my friend Ms. Miller's amendment, and this is why. Although I understand the intent of this amendment, which is to limit the accessibility of these derivatives to children, and I appreciate that greatly, I should note for the record that I am not a supporter of recreational marijuana. But the issue is this: Congress inadvertently created this problem in the 2018 Farm Bill because they could not reasonably predict, or they didn't reasonably predict that these types of cannabinoids could be synthesized. And then they passed this bill through. In the intervening time, there are now tens of thousands of Americans who have created different businesses, including several in my district now, that are using this process to feed their own kids. So although, again, I understand the intent of this, I think that Congress, again, is going to inadvertently do something. So I've spoken to my industry experts on this, and they absolutely want to be regulated. They do not want to be part of an industry that is producing different types of substances that can be given to children, as Ms. Meeks is applying, or has stated, but they also want to make sure that the quality consistency of the products are across the board the same. So they do want to be regulated, they do not want to be destroyed. And unfortunately, again, Congress created this problem in the 2018 Farm Bill, and now in order to right the wrong that they feel that they did, they're going to put tens of thousands of Americans' jobs at risk, and they're going to destroy an industry that was allowed to be created legally. And so I don't think it's appropriate for Congress to retroactively go back and make an industry essentially illegal that's going to put these people out of business. So unfortunately, I will not be able to support this en bloc if this amendment is still included in it. And with that, I yield back.
Yields back. Mr. Miller from Ohio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have a critical opportunity to expand markets for United States agricultural goods, bolster our nation's rural economies, and secure our energy resources through sustainable aviational fuels, also known as SAF. That's good for farmers, good for economic development, and good for the future of our nation's aviation. Toward this end, I appreciate that the committee has recognized the capacity for American farmers to help fuel flight and included measures in the base text of the Farm Bill regarding sustainable aviational fuels eligibility within the United States Department of Agriculture bioenergy programs aimed at reflecting key tenets in the bipartisan bicameral Farm to Fly Act, supported by so many on this committee. This marks the beginning of the process of recognizing the potential sustainable aviational fuel within USDA programs. I thank the committee for the opportunity to continue to work to fully empower the U.S. agricultural's contribution to sustainable aviational fuel. This effort should reflect the inclusion of SAF from corn ethanol, one of the most promising and scalable production pathways. I look forward to working with this committee to ensure the Farm Bill makes the most effective contribution to this important industry. Building off important recognition of sustainable aviational fuels for United States farmers, the amendment I am offering today would facilitate collaboration across Department of Agriculture missions for this issue. The USDA strategic effort will leverage the capabilities of our nation's farmers to capture opportunities in the sustainable aviational fuels market, and in doing so, build a critical framework to empower American agriculture to fuel to flight. Is a solid step in the right direction. On behalf of the future of American agriculture and aviation, I urge your support. Thank you again, Mr. Chairman. And I ask passage. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Any other members wish to speak? Ms. Bamberger.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wish to speak in support of Ms. Miller's amendment. And I would note and offer into the record a letter that I know you, Mr. Chairman, and Mr. Ranking Member Scott have received from attorneys general across the country, including from the Commonwealth of Virginia. And my support for this amendment is related specifically to the benefit that it would have for Virginia farmers. As they are trying to understand this ever-changing landscape, greater clarity is incredibly important, and importantly, particularly for fiber hemp producers, this amendment would make clear the valuable work that they do and make clear the viability of their product. This amendment would also give the Secretary of Agriculture authority to determine permissible levels of THC, and this is also good. I've consulted with the Virginia Secretary of Agriculture and certainly appreciate his and his team's engagement on this and other amendments that we are reviewing today. I yield back.
Thank you, gentlelady. Yield back. Mr. Nunn is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm grateful for this straightforward and common sense amendments being included in the en bloc. I want to express some sincerely felt concerns about a ban on hemp products nationwide. I associate myself with those remarks made by the gentleman from Wisconsin, Mr. Van Orden. I've heard from growers in my district. They support a stronger framework that includes more transparency, clear labeling, standards, age restrictions, and my state has been doing great leadership in this. However, this legislation should not be rushed. Underdeveloped policy attached to this legislation without proper consideration puts not only the Farm Bill at risk, but also puts us on a collision course with other departments and agencies. As a dad of 6, I certainly share my colleagues' passion for protecting children from accessing dangerous drugs, but this amendment goes too far by eliminating grain and fiber markets and instead protecting children through appropriate regulation to drive down the illicit marketplace. Mr. Chairman, the purposeful markup of today's debate is to share a number of ideas to consider the full implications of each policy, and I ask that we take the time to consider this properly as this moves forward to the floor. I appreciate the Chairman's work on this and thank the members of the committee, particularly those who've helped on our first 2 amendments.
Gentleman yields back. Anyone else wish to speak on the en bloc amendment? Seeing none. All those in favor of the en bloc amendment signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed saying no. No. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the amendment is agreed to.